Hello, my name is Jeffrey Wyrick, and I'd like to welcome you to the Fast and Easy series that we're calling Fan Page Rampage. Finally, video training that actually works. As we go through this series, there are 3 questions you should ask yourself. 1. Is this really something I need, or is it just a bunch of hype? Well, if you're a business owner, operator, or CEO of an offline or online business, then a well put together fan page is something you definitely want set up and running to keep up with or even get ahead of your competitors. If you're in charge of, representing, or working with a club, group, or nonprofit organization, and you want to be able to socially interact with the people who are involved, you may also want a fan page. If you're in charge of, representing, or working with a local sportings group, then a fan page is also a great way to communicate and keep things organized with players, fans, and family members. Just as a quick side note here, this last one is something I would not have thought about until recently when our company was hired to build a matching website and fan page for a man. Once a year, he and a large group of people get together to play beach volleyball. That's his passion. That's what they wanted. And it makes absolutely perfect sense. Anyhow, moving on. The second question you should ask yourself is who's using Facebook fan pages to make money online? Now, this is a fair and honest question, guys, and it's one I hear all the time. It doesn't matter if it's an initial consultation with a client or if I'm working with an existing client who just wants to find more ways to brand themselves and reach out to their potential customers and hopefully be able to better suit their needs and, of course, increase their revenue at the same time. It doesn't matter which person is asking the question, though. I like to use the same answers. I like to show them social proof. This picture was taken as my daughter and I were walking out of a Walgreens just this past Mother's Day from picking up a Mother's Day card. And as I open the door, the inside door, to lead out to the second set of doors, I look up and here's this sign. So I take my daughter's cell phone and I snap this picture to share with other people because right here at the top, as you can see, it says thank you. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Foursquare. But this isn't an isolated incident. And it doesn't shock me because the prior winter, I had been driving down the street and there's this rather large tire company who has in the last couple of years installed a really large LED sign right out front. Now I snapped this picture just a little bit too late, but the LED display just before this one said follow us on Facebook. And that same day, this past winter, I had been driving around and driven past my favorite Chinese place, and I thought I'd seen a similar sign at one of the little companies in the strip mall where the Chinese restaurant was that I eat at all the time. So I pull in. And here I am driving by the sign. Sorry if these aren't the best pictures, guys. I gotta be honest, I was in my car. And as I pull into the edge of the strip mall, just at a distance, I can see a big sign on the corner building that says Facebook. Just in case that's a little hard for some of you to read, this is what it looks like close up. Follow us on Facebook. It even gives the URL to their Facebook fan page. And then in tiny letters at the bottom, they mention their website. Obviously, you can tell which one that they're getting the most traffic from and what's most important to them. This here is a client of mine. Another piece of social proof. He's got a New York deli style Brooklyn stone oven pizzeria. Real nice place as you go in. It's nothing like you'd expect any local mom and pop's pizza place to be like. He's done a real good job at branding, and here we are pulling up. And as you can see just below his sign, but just above the door, he's got a little chalkboard that he writes things that are important messages to his clients that are coming in for lunch or dinner. Maybe, specials and such on the left. So let's take a look at that. He's got his branding up top. And just below that, you see he's got this nice little chalkboard. And right off to the right, what does it say? Become a fan on Facebook. Now, as cheesy as this might look to you, this has gotten him over 2,500 fans for a small local pizzeria that are following him ravenously on Facebook, so that anytime he posts something like, please give us a review on a specific website, within the matter of an hour, he's got 10, 15, 20 reviews. Can you imagine what that's doing for his ratings online on the search engines? He's getting amazing results. But he's not alone. Here's another guy, and I don't do as much business with these guys, but one of the things that I noticed that really blew me away is that this is one of my customers' competitors. This is another small local pizzeria, and he doesn't do a whole lot of advertising. He runs his business primarily through his phone book ad and his Facebook page. He doesn't even have a website. If you search for the guy's company by name, the top 2 listings are his fan page. You can order your pizza right from this guy's fan page. It totally blew me away when I found that out. Now for one more local example. Here's where I have to admit that sometimes as a marketer, I get so caught up in what I'm doing that other things kind of lapse. And one of the things that lapsed was my insurance, which put me in what they call high risk. So I had to take on high risk insurance. And today, just today, I walked in to pay my insurance, and right on the left you can see the branding on their wall, and dead center in front of my face, I see the sign right on the bookshelf facing everyone that walks in the door, and it says, "Find us on Facebook." Seeing the sign at my local insurance company really made me start to think. So as soon as I got home, I decided to check online, because obviously I'm not going to use high risk insurance for the rest of my life. I wanted to know, who has better options, who's going to give me a better price. So I started thinking about that, and I started thinking about, of these other bigger companies, who's using Facebook right now, using their fan page to make money online. So I opened up the biggest insurance companies that I could think of. And the first one was AAA. Unfortunately, though, as I scrolled through their website, there's no mention of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, MySpace, or anything else, even remotely social. I thought, well, that's odd. Then I thought about Prudential. I mean, these guys have been around forever with their little Rock of Gibraltar logo and their slogan that goes back all the way into the 70s, where they're telling everyone to get a piece of the rock. Well, here's my advice for Prudential. As you scroll down, you'll notice that they too have absolutely no social branding. My advice for them is get a piece of Facebook. The truth is that with AAA and Prudential, there are local offices all over the place, and some of them are branding, but neither of the corporate headquarters are doing any social branding. Huge mistake. I know you're probably thinking, well, who am I to question these 2 corporate giants? Let's take a look at the rest of the insurance companies. Farmers Insurance, really big insurance company. In fact, I believe they've just added this new little advertisement while making some page changes on their Facebook fan page, like literally probably within the last 24 hours. These guys really get it. I love the branding. They're using a star from an old television series on the top of their website. Right here, they've got a nice little thing that says "Win a Ride." And look at that, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So let's check them out. Let's click on their Facebook fan page and see what they're doing. Well, first we see a really well done like reveal page. And again, I think this is fairly recent because this company is absolutely huge. But as you scroll down, they've only got 133,000 fans. That's a lot of people following them if they were a small local business. But guys, this is a national mogul. These guys are huge. Or maybe they're just not quite as big as I thought. Again, 133,000 fans, and they're doing really well. I'm sure that number is going to greatly increase in the coming months. But not to dwindle, let's move on to the next company, State Farm. Now I go to their website and I scroll down. Look at this. Facebook takes me straight to their fan page. Almost 100,000 people. There's 97,000 people following them. The only thing I think that they could do to improve this is add something to motivate people to click the like reveal. They've got really cute advertisement here. They've got things really done nicely. They just don't have any motivating factor to like their fan page. what you're using their service. It almost looks like they've got a nice little drawn out map here of what you should do, or information you might go looking for, but no motivation. They are on Facebook though. That is noticeable. So then I open up Nationwide. You've all heard the ad before. Nationwide is on your side. Well, they're also on Facebook too. Check this out. As we open this up, we see another Nationwide on your side, Nationwide Insurance. Nicely done fan page. They just need to create a like reveal factor here. They're not doing quite as well as the other companies, so I'm going to assume that they haven't been doing this for quite as long. Or maybe they're not a very huge company like some of the others are. I mean, really, State Farm and Farmers are real big companies. So that could be a factor as well. It's just a company that I've heard a lot about living here in Michigan. Another one I've heard a lot about is Allstate. And as we visit the Allstate website, we scroll down. Here it is, Facebook. Now you'll see as it's loading here, they've got a really nicely done fan page. But once again, they're lacking the like reveal. Scroll down, there's over 30,000 people. These guys, I don't know if they're quite as big, but they're a fairly large company. 30,000 people following them, nicely done. Here they are on Facebook. But now let's check out some of the companies that we see advertising on television. Some of the big companies out there who are, or at least perceivably big, like Geico and Esurance, who mention the web, who talk about being online openly. Let's see what they're doing. So we visit the Geico website, 75 years in business it says. We scroll down at the bottom. Let's see who's following the Geico here. Really nicely branded. I can't say this enough. They need a like reveal to be added to this, just like the rest. And it's evident when they're following isn't all that much more than the other leading company. Guys, these guys are on TV constantly. This number should be at least double that. They're all over YouTube. They're just not doing quite as well on Facebook. I wouldn't doubt if it's in their coming plans to give them some kind of motivating factor, like click the like button to get our Apple app or whatever. I have no doubt in my mind that they'll catch on. But already, 137,000 fans. That does speak for itself. They're doing okay. And then there's Esurance, the other online insurance company that we hear about on TV all the time. We come to their website, and right here at the bottom, we click on that nice little Facebook icon, and up comes their like reveal. Now this one could be done just a little bit better because they are telling you, make a difference, just click. I would recommend that they move this arrow over right under the like sign and maybe bring this down here up, because what they're telling people is that for every person that clicks the like button, they're going to donate $10 to the Trevor Project, which is a very worthy project with what I understand. Unfortunately, because they haven't done as well a job at branding it, and maybe they're not as big nationwide as I think they are, I don't know. Or maybe it's just recently been set up, but less than 10,000 followers. The important factor in all this, though, guys, isn't the number of followers that these people have or how big their company is. Here's the staggering factor that most of you guys, I'm sure, have already caught on to. Aside from my local insurance vendor, 6 out of the other 8 insurance companies that we have just reviewed are using Facebook fan pages to increase branding and to increase the overall exposure and ultimately their revenue that they're able to generate from their online presence. That's 75% of these large insurance companies that are already taking advantage of this opportunity. So when you're asking yourself, who's using this? My answer is simple. Almost everyone. 75%. That number speaks for itself. It's huge. And it's only going to get bigger. This brings us to our third and final question. what makes this person qualified to help you with fan pages? And when I say this person, I'm not just talking about myself, but anyone who says that they can help you make money online or even in the offline world while using fan pages. In this case, more specifically, though, I want to point out myself. I want you to ask yourself, what makes Jeffrey Wyrick qualified to help you make money with fan pages? Well, I could start by telling you that as a designer and a marketer, I've been working full-time online since roughly the springtime of 1999. That's before the Y2K scare and before the supposed dot-com gold rush ever officially began. I say supposed because I don't for a minute believe that dot-com gold rush ever stopped. There are still an estimated 30,000 domain names registered every day, or at least that's the statistics that I'm reading. These sites need to be registered, hosted, built. And look at the staggering number of people out there on the social networks. We're nearing 750 million people on Facebook. And something like 3.5 billion people who are out there mobile, accessing the web or the internet or whatever you want to call it. It's not over, it's getting better. But moving on, I digress. Coming back to my humble beginnings, when other marketers were talking about the Wild West days of their early beginnings as entrepreneurs online, I was already out there in the trenches working, testing, tweaking, and making money for both myself and for other people who'd hired me as clients. So I know firsthand what it is you need to be successful. We're not talking about some quick fix or some hidden secret that might make you a couple hundred or a couple thousand. In reality, when I first started, there were no instant overnight millionaires. In fact, if you could reach six figures, if you could just make 100,000 or more per year online, you were considered to be doing really well. I did that in 2000, and I've done it many times since then. I have no problem telling you that I believe that this is the next frontier. That this and mobile marketing, these are the next two frontiers that are going to help people just like you to make it. I've watched a lot of trends and I've learned a lot of things. Another thing I like to point out to people is that I approach things a little different than most. Because one of the most important lessons I've learned early on was to take the time to research things, push the boundaries, and test the waters. And when you do these things, you have to ask yourself, why does this work? Well, when it comes to Facebook, the answer is pretty simple. Facebook works because it's social and viral. Everybody's on Facebook. And there are so many things built into it that are designed to make you interact with people and give you the opportunity to share things with people and tell people what you like. That it's almost flawless. It's absolutely brilliant. Consider the following case study. Now, this comes from about a year and a half ago. It was probably about the spring of just this last year. Not 2011, mind you. This was 2010. And it starts with a man I'm sure most of you have heard of. His name is Russell Brunson. Now, if you haven't heard of him, maybe you've heard of some of his products. There was a 12-month internet millionaire. His micro-continuity blueprint. Maybe you've seen his affiliate evolution. The dot-com secrets. I believe this was one of his most famous products to date. Maybe you've seen pictures of him showing affiliate checks. Maybe you've seen him on TV. He's been on several newspapers and several news programs. Or maybe you remember his ad where he talks about how he wants to become a Greco-Roman wrestler in the next Olympics. Russell has really made an effort in a very social way to get out there and tell people his story. And he's also made an effort to help a lot of people. So as I tell you this story, I want you to understand that it's not my intention to take anything away from all the hard work he's done. But I do have to tell you that Russell, if you're listening, give me a call or send me an email. Because this story, like I said, goes back to last spring. And it involves a mutual client that we both had. Another huge marketing icon. only in a slightly different niche. His name is Marco Rebel. Marco Rebel teaches people how to make money online using a really simple system and a nice little software program that he's put together. He's got a really good approach. And about a year and a half ago, Marco Rebel paid Russell Brunson's team $50,000 to set up his online branding and help him get his name out there for those in his target market. Home mortgages, real estate, really competitive industry, I understand that, but $50,000 should have bought him a whole lot of exposure. So I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, this is all great, but what does that have to do with me, right? Shortly after giving Russell Brunson the $50,000, Marco started thinking that maybe he should also be working in social networking, so he contacted an associate of mine who was occasionally asked me to partner up with him on certain online projects. Marco gave my associate an additional $10,000 to help him. But before this starts sounding as if we made tons and tons of cash working with this great real estate guru and helping him with his social media campaign, I have to be honest and tell you that our plans were cut really short early on. You see, what happened was Marco went in for another consultation with Russell Brunson's team, and he asked Russell, what percentage of the money that you make online comes from Facebook and social networking? And Russell drew him a pie chart showing that the great majority of the money earned by his staff and by himself comes from their phone room. Well, humbly, I have to admit here that this would make sense, as he had focused the majority of his efforts there, because the guys that he's training with, the wrestlers that he's working so hard to get to the next Olympics with what I understand, and I could be wrong, but with what I understand, they work in that phone room. And he also pointed out several other things, of course, email marketing, search engine traffic, paid for traffic. I didn't see the actual pie chart, but what stood out in my mind when I was talking to Marco about this is that the vast majority, well over half, came from the phone room. But only this tiny little sliver, Russell was telling him, came from social networking. That really, really shocked me. No matter how you spun it around, those figures didn't at all sound right to me. So I decided to take a closer look at what was going on. Now remember, Russell told Marco that only 1 to 2% of his sales came from social networks online, and that they were a complete waste of time. Let's take a look and see what's going on behind the scenes. Around this same time, Google announced that organic traffic based on their new algorithm was going to change. On-page content was still going to be important, just like in the past. And off-page content resulting in one-way backlinks would also be strong the way it had been in the past as well. But now there was new things coming into play. They called it activity, and it was going to play a small role in the ranking factor as well. Now, for those of you that don't really fully follow these trends, activity refers to human interaction. When you put a rating on something, or you communicate socially on a blog or on a social network, look at Google and look at their site for their local businesses. Those who have had more reviews and more stars are climbing faster and faster. So I have to tell you, this is the biggest understatement, in my humble opinion at least. This is the biggest understatement in online history. But again, let's take a closer look at things. Let's see what's going on behind the scenes and look at what, now a year and a half later, what Russell Brunson's done and what Marco Rebel has done. Okay, so here we are on Russell Brunson's personal profile here on Facebook. You can see that he mentions his wife, his family, and his primary business, as I mentioned earlier, .com secrets. So let's take a look at what Russell's done. Let's move on to his original attempt at branding himself, where he's got his banner. He tells people to suggest himself, at least, to other people. But there's no like reveal. There's no effort being made here. And obviously, he hasn't made any strong effort to tell anybody else about himself either, or to inform them that he has a page. I mean, 30 people. This is probably the number of people, and I say this humbly, who have accidentally stumbled into his page. And you look down here, there's a little thing that says welcome. Now, this, I'm going to gamble, was his attempt early on at a like reveal from back in the FBML days that either never worked out properly or was never finished. I'm not sure which, but with just 30 fans, I'm not shocked either. So let's take a look at some of the other things he's done. This was Russell Brunson's Underachiever Secrets. And this one, he did actually make a little bit of an effort to do a fan page. However, he was using one of those services. You know, one of the ones that charges you every month, or, you know, maybe it's one of the ones that has an upgrade to it. There are so many of them out there. You know, you either have to upgrade to get the unlimited friends or followers, or you have to upgrade if you're a web developer to get a developer license, or if you're a guy like Russell here who's got a lot of different web properties, you probably need the unlimited license that some of them have so that you're not limited to just one or two fan pages. It's ridiculous with some of the licensing terms that I've seen used out there. And in this case, I took a look at this just briefly, and it looks like there's a 7-day trial. And apparently he wasn't very committed to it because only 5 people clicked like. He let the trial expire. Facebook, obsolete. So you kind of follow through, and then you come to his big baby, his .com secrets. Now, I will tell you that a year and a half ago, when I first started looking into this, I could be wrong, but I believe he had roughly double the number of people following him on Facebook through his .com secrets website. Which, well, for a guy like him that's probably making close to $10 million a year, I believe. If not, he's making millions, plenty of them. He's doing really well. He should have more than 1,500 or even 3,000 followers. I mean, come on, this is his number one product, 1,500 followers. The reason for this, and again, I mean, in no way to take any of this away from Russell. Russell is focusing on things from a different angle. My gamble is that his phone room, his organic listings, his paid for listings, and his email marketing, these are probably his strong suits. But Russell, if you're listening to this, again, call me, send me an email. We really need to work on this. We really do. And I'd love to help you because, again, I harbor no resentments here. It's just something that I see that could help him to improve his business model. But in reality, this wasn't about Russell Brunson at all. It was about our mutual client, Marco Rebel. It was about a software program that Marco had called the Profit Grabber Pro. This was a $3,000 product that he wanted to make every effort to brand and get his name out there and to do the best possible job he could online. This is a product that he paid Russell's team $50,000 to help him with online. And you'll notice that there is some social branding here because Marco did find it important. So now here we are a year and a half later. Let's take a look at what Russell's given Marco since that time period. This is his branded website. If you go to marcorebel.com, it forwards you to aboutmarcorebel.com. It's got a nicely done video, real American theme there. Not a bad looking site all in all. I'm sure that he gets a lot of compliments on how nicely this is done. But all I keep seeing when I look at this is $50,000 for branding. He used the same design on the fan page that they designed for Marco. Again, no like reveal. Just over 2,000 people. Marco, you could be doing a whole lot better. I know we haven't talked in a while, but I'd like to extend the same opportunity. Marco, if you're watching this, give me a call. Send me an email. We need to fix this for you, buddy. There's no reason you should only have 2,000 people following you. You should have a whole lot more. You've got a great program. Okay, for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our presentation. And I'd also like to quickly recap the information that we've shared with you. In case study number 1, we showed some of the biggest companies in the world, outlining what they're doing on Facebook, how they're using fan pages for branding, and even the mistakes that many of them are making. Again, I'd like to point out that I am in no way trying to criticize these companies. In fact, they're using Facebook, and that alone shows us that this is a successful model. But like any other business, they're testing, they're tweaking, and I'm sure that at some point, these large companies, these conglomerates, these Fortune 500 groups, they're going to figure this out. I just want to help you to avoid the same pitfalls that they're currently going through right now while they test and tweak things so that you can get ahead faster. In case study number 2, we did a live demonstration showing a recent project our company has done with a very well-known online marketer whose company brings in millions of dollars per year. And he chose us. I can't stress that last part enough. Of course, we had to reach out to him and communicate with him. But this guy makes millions of dollars a year. This is Brad Fallon, the co-founder of StomperNet, who's responsible in part for one of the biggest, if not the biggest, online marketing launch in history. And he chose our company to work with. I'm honored to have had that opportunity, and I'm proud to have had the ability to share that with you. In case study number 3, we took a closer look at local business owners and even a couple of online marketers to see who else is using fan pages to make money online and how they're letting people know what they're doing. Of course, in that process towards the end, I also pointed out Russell Brunson and a man by the name of Marco Rebel. And I want to stress again, I have nothing but the utmost respect for both of these people. These people are extremely successful, just like the people in case study number 1. These companies in case study number 1 are vastly successful. These people too are making millions of dollars, probably millions every year. But where they're lacking is the fine tuning, and they're missing the boat on Facebook. Guys, if you don't get this right, some of these companies are losing millions of dollars a year, and some of them are adding millions of dollars every year to their revenue. Now, I'm not saying that means that you're going to make, millions and millions next year just by doing this. But if you do it, and you do it right, there shouldn't be any reason that you shouldn't be increasing whatever the revenue is that you're making right now. The only mistake you could make is to not follow through with what I'm trying to show you. That leads us to the next point. All that's left is for you to scroll down and take action now. Now, if you're a reader, kind of like me, I'll admit I'm a bit of a geek. I read everything. You want to go through everything, read the fine print, please feel free to do so. Or I can recap this for you, because I can tell you the reason that we built this program and set everything up is because everything that was out there looked great on the surface. But then we would learn that you needed the unlimited license, the developer license. You need to upgrade if you're using more than one website. You won't have that problem with our program. You can build unlimited number of websites. As a business owner, you could have millions of websites if you want. As a developer, if you're doing this for other companies, whether they're online, offline, local business, large businesses, whatever your target market is, you don't have to worry about, is there a personal license? Is this a developer license? All you have to do is follow the videos, read the step-by-step tutorials if you need something to go back and look at real quick, and take action. The only mistake you can make is not to take action. The rest, we've already covered. Again, if you have any questions, please, by all means, send me a message. But I look forward to seeing the rest of you on the other side. Talk to you soon.